For more pre-debate analysis, we're pleased to be joined by our next panel. First, via Skype, international reporter Margaret Howell will be with us. There she is, ready to go. And also via Skype, former New York Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik. Bernie is also the former interim Minister of the Interior in Iraq, and he is author of the book, From Jailer to Jailed. Maggie and Bernie, we appreciate your time. House Speaker Paul Ryan was at his Fall Fest in Wisconsin for his re-election, where he attacked Donald Trump for that leaked audio and then was greeted by Trump supporters trying to shout him down. Take a listen to the way it went down yesterday.
If you're not going to be for the whole ticket, I think...
I'm for Donald Trump!
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
To vote for, we as conservatives are offering solutions.
Now, let me preface, the first guy you saw was former House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Sensenbrenner. And then you saw Paul Ryan with him, the embattled U.S. Senator running for re-election, the Republican Ron Johnson, who is behind in the polling to Russ Feingold. And we also saw there on stage Wisconsin Governor, Scott Walker, and all the trouble that was there. So Maggie, first to you. When the Speaker of the House spends more time speaking out against Donald Trump than he does against Hillary Clinton's promise of duplicity in WikiLeaks, what does that say for the GOP?
Well, it says that we're in trouble, first of all, but just going back to why we're discussing this, Trump's comments, as a woman, I just want to say that I could never in good conscience vote for someone whose only strength is the woman card, who has enabled a true pig. And I thought that Trump's position tonight, where, meeting with Juanita Broaddrick, Paula Jones, the rape accuser that Hillary Clinton prosecuted as a 12-year-old, that really says something. He's on the offense, which I find really refreshing, and he's shifting his tactics. But back to Paul Ryan, shame on you, Speaker Ryan. You should be falling in line with the GOP. You should keep your personal politics, in a personal box, per se. And now's the time to rally. Now's not the time to create these factions. It's very disheartening.
Bernie Kerik, in a situation, and I know you've been dealing primarily with law enforcement and not politics, but the saying is in politics, if you're explaining, you're losing. So if you had advice for Donald Trump tonight, what would that be?
I'd say he has to stand his ground, and I'd say the GOP has to do what the DNC did years ago when Bill Clinton came under attack for one accusation after another. The DNC stood behind him. They rallied. They continue to rally in the circumstance here. But I have to tell you, JD, I'm so sick of the political field when we have issues. We had 4 police officers in this country assassinated, executed, shot and killed in the last 96 hours. And that's not headline news. All this nonsense, in the political arena is making headline news, and it's making me crazy.
Well, you talk about news, and of course it is within Mr. Trump's purview. Even as the questions come up, and Maggie, we've heard from CNN that the 2 anchors tonight, Anderson Cooper of CNN and Martha Raddatz of ABC, the first question goes to Hillary, and it's about the 11-year-old tape from Trump. Now, I'm not suggesting he leave it there, but to pivot to some of these other issues. For example, the cop killings we have seen, the continued civil unrest. Is that the best plan for Trump? Apologize, attack, and meet the attacks, and then pivot to these other issues, just as Bernie outlined, key issues such as law enforcement?
He needs to make sure that he brings his fighting gloves tonight. He didn't do it in the first debate. Now is his opportunity. He doesn't need to apologize anymore. Once is enough. Now, regarding Martha Raddatz, in 2008, she had the opportunity to change the trajectory of the entire election because she was sitting on information as a reporter regarding Acorn and President Obama's involvement in Acorn. So let's just hope that she actually does her job this evening. I'm going to be watching very closely, monitoring every time code that I can. And I just really want to see him go on the offense tonight. That's his only job. He's already apologized. He doesn't owe another apology to the American people. And then if that's going to be the first question, which that's what we know, the second question should be, what about the rape allegations against Bill Clinton? It's only fair.
Bernie, I know that you've pointed out there are other issues, but there's been mixed advice. Some say, no, you concentrate on Hillary and perhaps the allegations that she enabled Bill, and that may have been what the press conference was about with Mr. Trump and Mr. Clinton's accusers earlier this weekend. Should he talk about Bill Clinton or stick to Hillary and her enabling of Bill Clinton?
I think the focus is on Hillary. I think the focus is on Hillary's record. And I think the focus should be on what he's going to do for this country in the future, because at the end of the day, I don't give a damn what happened in the past. What we need to worry about right now is ISIS, the terror threats that face this country, the national war against police, the economy, jobs, cleaning up minority communities and giving them work, putting work in those communities and getting people back to work. That's the real issues. That's what he should be focused on. Hillary Clinton's had a chance to address that and work on it for the last 30 years and has failed. He should focus on what he's going to do for the country.
Maggie, I want to take a look at someone else who's figuring in this campaign, and that is the current president, Barack Obama. Mr. Obama, speaking today in his hometown of Chicago, attacked Mr. Trump for the comments about women. Here's the way the president did that earlier today.
It tells you he'd be careless with the civility and the respect that a real, vibrant democracy requires. And it sure as heck tells you he's never met somebody as tough or smart or patriotic as Tammy Duckworth. You want to see leadership, that's the kind of leadership that you've got to look for.
So that is Barack Obama campaigning for Tammy Duckworth, an Iraq veteran who is running for the U.S. Senate seat that is held currently by Mark Kirk. And of course, Mark Kirk has decided to bail on Mr. Trump and his campaign, thinking he can appeal to suburban women in that fashion. Maggie, your thoughts first about President Obama and then about Kirk trying to say, look, I'm not for Donald Trump. Does that augur well for the incumbent there from Illinois?
Look, first of all, regarding the candidate and regarding Iraq War veterans or veterans in general for Trump, he has them in the tens of thousands. You know, I've stood and reported in those biker rallies, if you will. Veterans for Trump is this massive organization in the tens of thousands strong. So the president, shame on him, first of all, for finding one person and singling them out who doesn't happen to support and making them sort of the trophy or the gold star, if you will, of anti-Trump supporters. But, you know, you could say that there are in the tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of former U.S. veterans that support Donald Trump. So, you know, the straw man argument there, of course, the president's going to attack Trump. He owes it to Hillary Clinton to campaign for her. That's his only job right now, A, to protect his legacy that's failing, and B, to support Hillary Clinton.
And we will have to leave it there, Maggie. Thanks very much to you, and thank you, Bernie Kerik, for Skyping in tonight. Still ahead on our special coverage, Diamond and Silk, and up next, Craig Shirley and Betsy McCoy, all as we continue our pre-debate special here on Newsmax TV.